I got home at 3 a.m. after a long drive. The house was empty. On the kitchen table was an A4 manila envelope. Curious, I opened it and pulled out the contents. Flicking through the revealed sheath, I noted a 3-page handwritten letter, some legal papers, and a divorce application already signed by my wife. I read the letter. My dearest David, I feel a little bad using that term, but despite what I have done to you, but I think after 26 years of marriage, you will allow me that little indulgence. There is no easy way of telling you this, but I have left you. By the time you read this, I will have crossed the border and be out of your reach. I intend spending the rest of my life lying in luxury on a beach somewhere in the tropics. Yes, it was another man. His name is Michael, and in him I know I have found my true soulmate. If you could see us together and see how much in love we are, I am sure you would be happy for me. To give you some emotional finality, I can confirm that, yes, I have been having a relationship with him for the last 9 months. No, he isn't nearly as caring a partner as you, but our relationship is far more emotional than physical anyway. He holds some sort of control over me, and I just can't say no to him. It was he that talked me into taking the financial steps I have. Because I do still love you and you don't deserve what I have done, I thought it was the least I could do to tell you all the details. Firstly, I have refinanced the house fully and taken the $453,000 as cash which we have with us. After years of practice, the bank accepted my copy of your signature. To be fair, I have left you a signed power of attorney, so you can transfer the title from our joint names to yours solely. Secondly, I have taken the $790,000 out of all our bank accounts and kept that as well. I fought hard with Michael to allow you keep some of it, but he said no. I'm sorry, Dave. I just can't resist him. I also sold my Lexus, and am keeping the $45,000 from that. Of course, I also am taking all my jewelry with me. Thirdly, and most painfully, I have sold the 75% share of your company that Daddy left me in his will. You will still have your 25%, but on Monday, the new owners will no doubt tell you what the future will hold for you. I don't feel too bad about that, as I felt it was mine to sell. I know that you wanted to keep it as a nest egg for Jody, Ryan, and Pat, but Michael and I need the money. We had to sell it cheaply as it was a cash deal and a little shady. I never met the people that bought it, as I worked through an intermediary, so don't know what they're like. Believe me when I say I truly hope they keep you on as manager and Ryan keeps his job there. The $5.8 million that deal netted me we also have with us. Don't feel this is all one-sided. Michael also refinanced his house, using a similar ruse to me, and cleaned out his bank accounts. He also took all his wife's jewelry, which I thought was a bit mean. His share is way less than mine, but it still amounts to over $1.2 million. The one concession to decency I made him do was leaving his wife a power of attorney as well as blank signed divorce papers. I feel a little sorry for her, but as I never met her, I'll live. While I'm on that subject, please find attached a blank divorce application. It already has my witnessed signature on it. I don't want you to hold out hope that I will be back. I'll be living my happily ever after without you. It seems unfair for you to have to wait 12 months to divorce me for abandonment. I would expect you to file immediately and keep all our assets for yourself. The 25% of the company should see you to a decent retirement, I hope. Please give my best to the children, and if you can find it in your heart, defend what I have done. I know they never really forgave me for having that affair 5 years ago, but it will still hurt never seeing them again. When I am settled, I will send my friend Cindy an address where you can mail letters. I trust her never to reveal it to you. She hasn't liked you since you turned her down when she came on to you that time. Again, if you can find it in your heart, I would love to get photos of any grandkids we end up with. After the 7-year statute of limitations has passed, I may even pop back and see them. I will understand if you don't want to see me. Well, I won't go on any longer. You may notice the bottom of this page is wrinkled. That is from my tears. You don't deserve this, and I am truly sorry for being so weak. The only thing that is getting me through this is the thought of spending the rest of my days on a beach in the arms of my one true love. Goodbye, my dear David. I will always remember you fondly as a wonderful husband, father, and provider. I'm just sorry I couldn't match your love and loyalty. Kate. I had just finished reading, with a small tear in my eye for the lost 26 years, when the front door opened and Lisa came in. She looked as tired as me. She smiled as she came over, gave me a gentle peck on the cheek, and sat down across the table from me. You're back quickly. Did you get a letter as well, Liz? No, Dave, just divorce papers and a power of attorney, the coward. Awfully decent of him. Well, you can thank Kate for that. It was her idea, apparently. Yeah, well, 10 out of 10 for decency, but 0 out of 10 for smart. Using such a predictable password on her computer so anyone could read her emails. Foolish or what? I guess she didn't think you would be looking over her shoulder after 5 years. What's in your letter? I passed her the pages, watching her expression change as she read through Kate's carefully crafted confession. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. My wife had essentially written out a complete blueprint of their crime while believing she was being honest. All predictable nonsense. She still loves me, blah, blah, blah. Met her soulmate, crap, crap, crap. Sorry to do this to me, etc. Then details exactly how she has ruined me. She knows 25% of the company in this economic climate won't support any sort of retirement. The biggest joke, though, was when she wrote that she'd never met you. What do you say to that, Miss Intermediary? Lisa laughed, a sound that had become music to my ears over the past 8 months. Goodness, don't remind me about that. Do you know how hard it was keeping a straight face through those negotiations? Knowing that however much we paid, it just ended up her gifting the whole company to you. The memory of those tense negotiations flooded back. Lisa had played her role perfectly. The mysterious businesswoman representing anonymous buyers interested in purchasing Kate's majority stake in my manufacturing company. Kate had been so eager to make the deal, so desperate to get the money quickly for her escape with Michael, that she'd barely questioned the legitimacy of the buyers. She'd accepted the first offer, never knowing she was essentially selling my company back to me at a fraction of its worth. I know, Liz. I am so proud of you. That reminds me, did you put the deadbolt on the garage door? With all that cash in the trunk, that has to be the most expensive car in this town for sure. I've never seen anything like $8.3 million before. Shall we go to the bank first tomorrow or the lawyers? I told you, silly. The bank opens at 9 a.m. and our appointment with the lawyers is at 10. The planning had taken months. We'd had to be so careful, so methodical. Lisa had opened the offshore accounts under assumed names, created the shell company that would purchase Kate's shares, even gone so far as to rent a fake office space for our fictitious business meetings. Meanwhile, I'd been playing the role of the unsuspecting husband, all while Kate had been playing her own deceptive game. Well, I don't want to be late. If either of them change their minds on the divorce before we get our signatures witnessed on the papers they so kindly left us, it will complicate things. Don't fret, Dave. I'm sure Michael won't get out of hospital before Thursday at least, and something tells me Kate's not smart enough to figure it out. Sorry, no offense, Dave. Don't worry about it, Liz. I always knew she was out of my league physically, but I left her behind intellectually. That had been the painful truth of our marriage. Kate had always been the beauty, the one who turned heads when we walked into a room. But she'd never been particularly sharp, something that had become increasingly apparent as the years went on. Her affair 5 years ago should have been my wake-up call, but I'd forgiven her, tried to make it work. I'd been a fool then. This time I'd been anything but. We both lapsed into a comfortable silence. I don't know what Lisa was thinking, but my thoughts were on the last time I'd seen my wife. She was standing forlornly on the side of the road. We were following the getaway car about 10 minutes behind them. It looked like Mick abandoned Kate when she'd got out of the car for some reason at a service station just short of the border. Lisa waved at her on the way past. The image was burned into my memory. Kate's confused, desperate face as she realized her true love had left her stranded. Michael had probably panicked when he saw our headlights approaching. His precious escape plan was falling apart, and like the coward he was, he'd chosen to save himself rather than stick by the woman who'd sacrificed everything for him. As if reading my thoughts, Lisa spoke. "I wonder where she is now. I hope she's safe in a cell somewhere. Calling the police to have her arrested for signature fraud was only my way of protecting her from highway predators, honestly." It wasn't entirely a lie. As angry as I was, I didn't want Kate to come to real harm, but justice needed to be served, and her arrest had been the perfect cherry on top of our revenge. The anonymous tip I'd called in about the stolen money and forged signatures had been carefully timed, just as she stood alone and vulnerable at that service station. "I believe you, Dave. Being the considerate gentleman you are is only one of the things I like about you." Lisa's hand found mine across the table, her touch sending the familiar warmth through me that had been building over these past months. Our relationship had started as a partnership of mutual revenge, but somewhere along the way, it had become something much deeper. "That reminds me, do you think I can sue the bank for letting her do that? We'll make a tidy profit that way." "Now, Dave, don't be greedy. We've already got rid of 2 cheating partners for free, got you 100% of your company and retrieved all the money and jewels. What more do we need?" She was right, of course. The scope of what we'd accomplished still amazed me. Not only had we turned their betrayal against them, but we'd come out ahead financially and emotionally. The money Kate had stolen was now safely back in our possession, along with Michael's contribution to their escape fund. My company was wholly mine again, worth far more than the pittance Kate had accepted for her shares. And most importantly, we'd found each other. After another comfortable silence, my concern for my friend prompted my next question. "How are you traveling emotionally, Liz?" "Well, a bit sad, but I'll get over it. Thanks for asking. Whenever I feel bad about it, I just have to remember the look on Michael's face as you shunted his car off the road. He was within arm's reach of me at the time. It was priceless. You don't think you'll get in trouble for confronting him, do you? I know it's a guy thing, but you gave him a fair talking, too." The confrontation had been inevitable. 26 years of marriage, of trust and partnership, thrown away for a man who'd manipulated my wife into destroying everything we'd built. When we'd caught up with them at that border crossing, something primal had taken over. Michael's arrogant smirk had vanished the moment he realized we weren't the helpless victims he'd expected. "Why do you think I waited till he had crossed the border? Anyway, what do you mean me getting into trouble? Don't you mean we? I saw you give him a piece of your mind at least 8 times. Lisa's role in Michael's education had been particularly satisfying to watch. This was the woman he'd destroyed, whose husband he'd convinced to join Kate in their scheme of financial destruction. She'd had 8 months of rage to work through, and she'd done so with remarkable efficiency. "Goodness, Dave, don't tell me you're one of those old-fashioned types that think a girl shouldn't have a little fun once in a while. You didn't tell me you were going to set fire to his car." "Sorry, spur-of-the-moment thing. Do you know that if your car is stolen and they recover it with the keys still in it, the insurance company won't pay a dime? They say you have to take reasonable steps to secure your property. I removed the GPS tracker from the chassis before I lit up, though. When are you going to report him for signature fraud?" The burning car had been therapeutic, watching Michael's dreams of tropical beaches and easy living go up in smoke. We'd made sure to document everything: the forged signatures, the stolen cash, the fraudulent refinancing. Michael would face charges in 2 countries now, and his wife would have all the evidence she needed for a very favorable divorce settlement. Did it already? A few days in hospital should give them time to get the extradition order sorted out. He's not going anywhere. Another silence followed, comfortable and companionable. The weight of the past year, the discovery of their affair, the months of planning, the execution of our revenge, was finally lifting. We'd won, completely and utterly. Are you still happy to come with me tomorrow when I explain all this to my kids, Dave? Lisa's children deserved to know the truth about their father's betrayal and their mother's strength. It wouldn't be easy, but they needed to understand why their family had fallen apart and how their mother had fought back. Of course, Lisa, I wouldn't dream of letting you do that on your own. What are friends for? The word friends felt inadequate now, but we were taking things slowly. Both of us had been burned badly by our spouses' betrayals. Trust would take time to rebuild, even between us. We both pondered our own thoughts for a few more minutes. The house felt different now. Not the mausoleum of a failed marriage it had been this morning, but the beginning of something new. Lisa's cell phone rang, jolting us both from our reverie. She answered it with sigh. There was a pause then. Sorry, I no speak English very good, before she hung up. Her performance was flawless. The confused immigrant act had served us well during our planning phase. Michael's legal team wouldn't get far trying to track down Maria Gonzalez and her mysterious business associates. It looks like they found my darling husband. That was his one phone call. The satisfaction in her voice was unmistakable. Michael had probably expected sympathy, maybe even help. Instead, he'd gotten a woman who didn't speak English and hung up on him. The poetic justice was beautiful. After another minute's comfortable silence. Isn't it ironic, Dave? They thought they could get our share of our marriages and be free, with having to live in luxurious exile for a few years the only cost. Instead, we get their share and our freedom while getting to stay here. The irony was indeed delicious. Kate and Michael had planned so carefully, convinced they were the masterminds pulling strings while their spouses remained oblivious. They'd never considered that their victims might be planning their own game, 3 moves ahead. Yeah, ironic. I'm sure they thought it was a foolproof plan at the time. Talking of marriage, I penciled in getting my 3 monsters over tomorrow to help with the wedding invitations, but thinking about it, that can wait. Are you still happy for Ryan to be the best man? My children had been surprisingly supportive when I'd told them about Lisa and me. They'd never fully forgiven Kate for her previous affair, and they'd seen how much happier I'd become over the past few months. Ryan, my eldest, had been particularly pleased to learn he'd keep his job at the company, something that never would have happened under Kate's mysterious new owners. Of course, it's your choice. Darn weird having your son as your best man. You do know it is traditional for the bride to marry the best man if the groom doesn't show, don't you? No. I hadn't heard that one. But don't you worry. Wild horses couldn't keep me away from you that day. The thought of our upcoming wedding filled me with a warmth I hadn't felt in years. Not the desperate clinging to a dying relationship that had characterized the end of my marriage to Kate, but genuine excitement for the future. Finally, we had a proper kiss. Only for about 5 minutes, though. We broke, and I looked into the eyes that I fell in love with 8 months ago. 8 months since that first meeting at the coffee shop, when 2 betrayed spouses had found solace in each other's company. 8 months of planning, scheming, and falling in love despite ourselves. So, sweetie, now we have 2 signatures on divorce applications. Can we retire upstairs and finally celebrate our love? You know I'm really tempted, Dave, love. But why don't we wait till we're not so tired? That way we can make it really special. I will agree to one of your famous all-night snuggles, though. Her restraint was one of the things I loved about Lisa. We'd been through so much together, but she insisted on doing things properly. No rushing, no decisions made in the heat of revenge or victory. Everything deliberate and meaningful. What do you mean? All night we have to be at the bank in 5 hours. All the more reason to get some rest then, you silly romantic. As I followed Lisa up the stairs, not for the first time wondering what that glorious-looking package looked like, I remembered the question I'd been meaning to ask. The future stretched ahead of us, bright with possibilities that had seemed impossible just this morning. Have you decided where you would like to go on our honeymoon yet, Lise? How about we go and laze on some tropical beach for a while? It's funny you should say that, Lisa. The laughter that followed was rich and genuine, Kate and Michael's dream vacation would become ours instead. Their money, their freedom, their happy ending, all of it now belonged to the people they'd tried to destroy. Tomorrow, we'd start the legal process of making it official, but tonight we could simply enjoy the sweet taste of perfect revenge. As we reached the top of the stairs, Lisa turned back to me with a smile that made my heart skip. "You know what the best part is, Dave?" "What's that, sweetheart?" "They'll spend years wondering how we did it, how two supposedly naive spouses managed to outplay them so completely." She was right. The beauty of our revenge lay not just in its success, but in its elegance. We'd use their own weapons against them: deception, manipulation, betrayal, but with surgical precision rather than their clumsy greed. They'd never see it coming because they'd never given us credit for being smart enough to see it through. "Let them wonder," I said, pulling her close. "We have better things to think about now." And we did. The past was settled, paid in full with interest. The future belonged to us. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.